Happy Monday, everyone here. Todd Thoughton here from Thoughton Physical Therapy in Attleboro, Massachusetts for episode number 61. Can't believe it's already been 61 episodes. Facebook Live, tight hamstrings, pull hamstrings, low back pain. Stop, please stop stretching your hamstrings. Massaging, anything, dry needling, that is not where we start. Please stop stretching your hamstrings. Find out why addressing your hamstrings directly is never the solution to the problem. Hamstring pain is 100% a result of imbalance that we need to fix. In this episode, ever since time began, a long time ago, when people had hamstring pain, let's stretch them. Let's stretch them with my leg out in front of me, let's bend over and touch my toes. That was the go-to move, hamstring flexibility. Well, I'm going to show you in this episode why it's never something that we start with. Not to say we don't do dry needling or massage or grafting, because I've done most of those before, but it's not where we start. So in this episode, I hope you're excited to hear my thoughts and theories on why we never stretch the hamstrings. Who am I? Again, Todd Thoughton here in Attleboro, Mass. Passionate about helping people, passionate about finding the cause behind your issue instead of treating the symptom. Nowadays, a lot of people tend to treat the symptoms because it's flashy and exciting and it's the latest trend. I just want to be here to fix the cause. Please feel free to chime in and let me know who's out there. Give me a thumbs up, smile emoji. Please feel free to let anyone know about this, tag someone in it. I'd love to pass along this information. So here we go, my favorite part. So I realize that this is a different way to think about a process that we haven't seen before. And what I'm going to talk about is so simple that many of you are going to go back to your old habits and say, well, it's really that simple. Is this really going to be effective? So consider being a new theory. It may change the way you think about your training. It may change the way you do movements. It will change the way you do movement patterns. But I'm going to tell you, after beta testing this theory for about 5 years now, it is effective and it does work. So consider, if core activation is working properly, the hamstring muscles and other hip, knee, and ankle muscles do the job that they're supposed to. And the hamstring issue will just melt away to not even be an issue. So the old Todd, what would I have done in the past? Just like many other places that you can go to, I would do the massage. I would stretch the hamstrings with the strap. I would do the grafting. I've had trigger point done on my own hamstring. I've done all the different modalities that you can do, ultrasound, stim, I've tried all those, and I find out that they just aren't as effective when doing all those as just working and stabilizing the core. So I kind of had this happen to myself many years ago when I had chronic hamstring injuries and I started doing yoga and trying some other modalities and it just didn't work. So that's how I kind of came up with, after talking with a colleague, the fuse box theory. Just a couple questions to throw out there for you. What if the hamstrings are holding on for dear life? What if the hamstrings, which are a secondary mover, not the primary mover, what if they're holding on for dear life? Why would you ever stretch the hamstring? If I'm going to stretch something that's already holding on for dear life, I'm going to injure myself further. The next question would be, what if I activate the glute max, the biggest and I feel the most important muscle in the body, separately? The hamstring should just be able to relax. I can find and prove within a couple different repetitions, 3 reps of something, that the hamstrings seem to apparently magically increase in length and they get a lot better flexibility, and I can prove this just after doing 3 reps of activating the glute max. Another thought or another question is, what if I activate the transverse abdominis and the oblique muscles? I've also found a dramatic increase in hip rotator strength, more proximal stability than distal stability, and I can prove it 100% of the time. Next question would be, what if I activate the low back, the scapula, the glutes? I've also found a dramatic increase in lower extremity strength from the other low back distributions, the ankle and the great toe strength, and I can prove this 100% of the time. So then I came up with the fuse box theory that I've been working on for about 5 years, beta tested over 10,000 visits, and found out that the power is in the spine and the ability to activate your spine. Everything in front of the spine and everything behind the spine, meaning your abdominal muscles in the front and the back, the upper back, low back, and the glute muscles. When your body's in a good anatomical position, the body works effectively. And magic, or the trick to be able to do this is to have the core activated when we do movements, and then have enough core endurance to keep the core activated and maintain the activation during the movement patterns that you want to complete. I can say that 100% of lower body injuries are related to weak or no activation of the core muscles, which cause your hip, knees, and ankles to be redlining all the time, and then they just wear out. So what are some of the muscles of the lower body? Well, we have the abdominal muscles, the rectus muscles, the obliques, the transverse abdominis, a big one, the glute max, which is your power muscle, the glute medius, which is a stability muscle, the piriformis, again, another famous talk that I talked about last week, another stability muscle, hamstring, stability muscle, and the adductor, which are shock absorbers, major muscles in the body. So I feel the glute max is the most important muscle in the body, and when we can individually call on that muscle, everything changes in the lower body. Something commonly that I see people say, well, I do tons of glute work, I do tons of hamstring work, I really stretch out. I'm seeing is that when people know how to just activate, when I say do like a Superman, for example, they're not able to activate the glute separately, as well as the upper back separately, as well as the low back. A lot of people, when you say do a Superman, they activate the glute, the hamstrings, the calves, the hip rotators, the low back, the upper back, and the neck, as opposed to just firing the big muscle movers that we wanted. Here we go. The top 10 things that hamstring strains, pulls, or tears or low back injuries are due to, number 1, poor glute activation and education. Number 2, the inability to separately learn how to activate the glute max, abdominals, and the low back separately. Number 3 is referred pain from the glute medius muscle that is sending referred pain pattern down to the hamstrings, the upper, the middle, the lower hamstring. Number 4 is the inability to separately engage the transverse abdominis muscle and the rectus and the obliques separately from your glutes, separately from your adductors. Number 5 is the incorrect starting point for anyone's fitness. Again, doing the right exercise at the wrong time. Plank is a great exercise to do, but certainly for about 2% of the population, because they don't have the deep core stabilizers working all the time. The next one would be, number 6 would be faulty teachers with the basic principles. So basically, we just got to learn how to do things correctly the first time, and when we do them correctly in the simplest form, for example, we do stuff mat work lying down first. Then we do stuff seated, then we do stuff standing, then we do stuff with movements, then we work on movement patterns and putting them all together. So through my eyes, really, what are the next things? What are the 7 things we can do to keep it simple for what I do now for hamstring injuries? Believe it or not, number 1, diaphragm, super important muscle. So the first thing is breathe. We need to learn how to breathe. We need to learn how to move and then breathe. We need to be able to work out and then breathe in that progression. Number 2, we want to actively decrease the spasm in the glute medius, which is the muscle on the side of your hip bilaterally, as that muscle can specifically give you IT band pain, hamstring pain, low back pain, calf pain, plantar fascia pain, great toe pain, and Achilles pain. Number 3 is we want to learn how to separately activate the glutes from the low back, from the abdominal muscles. Number 4, we want to do the Fusebach activation exercises, basic ones, then we want to do it with movements. Number 5, we want to, which leads to bracing or activation with movement patterns. First we want to learn the movements, then we want to do movement patterns. Number 7, which is, this is the money one, these are the money ones right over here, is number 6, is we want time under tension. What do I mean by that? Is that in order, it doesn't seem helpful when I take a high-end athlete and have them do exercises on their back. They go, what is that going to matter? What is this going to translate into? Well, what happens is we start doing these exercises lying on the mat first. Then we do them seated when you're at work. Then we do them when you're in the car driving. Then we do them when you're out walking your dog. Then we do them when you're on a spin bike. Then we do it when you're swimming. Then we do it when you're running. Then we do it when you're biking. All the time under tension built up will allow you to have higher performance because now your body has the endurance to do it. And number 7, which is the coolest thing, is now we have a backup generator. Meaning that by doing all this time under tension with the backup generator we don't have to do the activation exercises all the time to be able to be successful, but if we do them most of the time and make a part of everyday workout, they don't have to be done separately, and now we've built a huge tank of strong core muscles. So recap is, don't start with stretching your hamstrings. Don't start with massaging them. Don't start with any other modalities because you're treating this symptom, so stop. Activate the core always the way. Then if we need to, then we can go address the hamstring at the end of the treatment. I don't remember the last time I touched a hamstring. It's been very few over the last 5 years because I usually never have to treat it and it usually melts away. So, recap. Core activation when it's working properly, the hamstring muscles, other hip, knee, ankle, and foot muscles can do their job and the hamstring issues just melt away. Again, please feel free to send me a heart emoji, send me a like emoji, heart emoji. Please feel free to tag someone that you think that this might be useful for, thumbs up emoji. Please feel free to email me at toddh@houghtonphysicaltherapy.com. Hope to see you guys next week. Hope this was helpful. Have a good one.